know I've had that moment a couple of times in my life where I sort of can, not quite an out-of-body experience, but a moment where you sort of just stand back and you look at yourself and go, how am I standing here with this person? Or how do I find myself in this role? Or how on earth am I in this situation? And you just sort of think back to, this is just so weird. How on earth did I get here? I never thought I would. Well, that's a bit of the perspective we're going to be having today with Graham Jenke, a pastor who found himself in the middle of the Redback Motorcycle Club. We're going to hear his journey on the way. If you love these interviews, would you like, share, rate, review the podcast? It helps all the algorithms to get these out to as many people as possible. Let's get stuck into this story with Graham. How are you, Graham?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Clayton.
It's so good to have a chat to you. And I think probably those descriptions do fit you because you're going to, I think, take us into a bit of a different culture, a bit of a different purpose. So before we get to this incredible life story you have of being a part of the Redback Motorcycle Club, let's step back a little bit before that and talk a bit about faith. Has Christian faith always been a part of your world, even from growing up?
Yes, it has. I was blessed with Christian parents who read Bible stories to me and prayed with me every night before bed, and who took me to worship every week, and who ensured that I also had Sunday school lessons and confirmation lessons. And so I'm very thankful to my parents for a Christian upbringing.
So that led, as you go through life and having an upbringing like that, it led you actually in the end to being a pastor. Now, we've skipped a fair few years there, but tell us a bit about that journey of when you decided, look, I think this is going to be the thing I want to spend my life doing.
Yeah, well, at the time when I did my confirmation lessons, I felt God was calling me to be a pastor. And so if I wanted to become a pastor, I would have had to get matriculation, which is year 12, and I'd have had to go straight from school then to seminary to train. Well, living in the rural town of Udunda in South Australia, the area school there only went to fourth year high school, which is year 11. And so after school, I left school and I began working. And so because I never was able to or never chose to do year 12 or matriculation, I wasn't able to enter seminary at that time. And so I proceeded with work, and I still felt the call while I was working until my wife and I married during that time. My wife was a committed Christian as well, and we were doing a 2-year Bible study course, and the leader of that course asked whether I've ever considered studying to become a pastor. And I said, I've been battling with that for years. I said, I haven't got the education qualifications. And he said, well, at your age now, you can enter as a mature age student. You could go and talk to the Dean of Studies in North Adelaide, which I did. And when you put one foot in the door, they drag the other one in.
And this is part of the Lutheran Church, which obviously in South Australia has a lot of different churches throughout the state. That's correct, yes? That's
correct, yeah. See, the Lutheran Church started 500 years ago following Martin Luther. And anyway, Germany was then in a stage where they wanted to just have one church and do away with all the different denominations. And so the Lutherans didn't like that they'd be forced into a unity church. And so they migrated to Australia to South Australia in 1838. And from there on, my ancestors came over and I'm a fifth generation Australian from German Lutheran stock.
So here you are, you end up in this, position and able to train and then become a pastor yourself. Now, before we get to the part that we wanted to talk about as well, and it's interesting hearing all of the story around this work with the motorcycle, club. But
Yeah.
where did you serve, and how many years, I suppose, did you serve as a pastor across South Australia?
Yeah, about 30 years, because I entered as a mature age student. I only graduated when I was 39. And so the church, when I graduated, after 7 years of study, they assigned me to Cleave-on-Air Peninsula, which was a parish of 4 congregations, which I served for 4.5 years. Then I received a call to Rainbow in Victoria, which was a parish of 3 congregations, and I served there for 8.5 years. And then I received a call to Waikerie in the Riverland of South Australia, and I served there 18 months. And after that, I was assigned to Cambray Parish, which was a congregation in the Murraylands. Was a parish of 3 congregations, and halfway during my time there, which was 14 years, halfway during that time, the Cambray Parish amalgamated with the Mannum Parish and renamed itself as the Mid-Murray Lutheran Parish. So it was a big parish with 8 churches, 8 preaching places, 8 congregations, and 2 pastors. So we did 2 of a Sunday morning each. So so we went around the parish, within a fortnight.
Now, it was at Cambray as well that we want to sort of really dig into a bit more of the story as well. And I'm led to believe, and there's been a great article that was written about you in Eternity News a little while ago, which sort of started out about this idea that you were told, hey, we don't want you to just sit in the parish. We want you to get out and about amongst the people. And you went and did that. Do you want to tell us a bit of that story? Yeah,
sure. Yeah, actually, when I went to the interview before they assigned me to Cambray Parish, the parish chairperson said to me, and being a farmer, it was no airs and graces, straight to the point. He said, we don't want a pastor that sits in his office all day. We want a pastor that gets out amongst the community and gets to know people, and is there for the whole community. And I thought that was awesome. And so once a fortnight, I had a red Vespa scooter, and I'd ride my red Vespa scooter 9 kilometres north to Sudan, where they had a very community-orientated hotel. And I thought, well, I'll go in there and I'll have a couple of drinks and I'll meet people and I'll talk to people. Well, it just so happened that once a month, the Redback Motorcycle Club had their monthly meetings there. And, I was there at the time because if I went there every fortnight, I was there when they had their meetings. So they got to know me. And when they saw my red Vespa scooter, they called me Faster Pastor, because they all had big, powerful Harleys. And anyway, there was one evening that my wife and I went up there for a meal, and some of our congregational members did the same, and they were there. And the treasurer of the Redback Motorcycle Club, was talking to me and asking me, he says, do you have any members in your parish who have particular needs? And I said, yes. I said, we have, we've just been through a drought year and the farmers are doing it tough. And we have one young farmer and his wife who've had a child with a hole in the heart, and they need to take that child to Melbourne for an operation. And they're doing it tough. And the Redback Tourist treasurer said to me, that's not that little girl that's running around in pink here at the hotel. And I said, yes. And he said, well, I'd like to meet the parents. So knowing the parents well, because they were members of Cambray congregation, I went across to them, spoke to them, brought them across to the treasurer, who was a guy with piercings and tattoos and leather jackets and ponytails and everything. So he seemed a little bit strange to them. But anyway, he spoke to them. The next thing, he thrusts his hand inside his leather jacket, grabs a fistful of money, of notes, and brings it out and thrusts it into the parents' hands and said, we'd like to help you, we'd like to support you to get your child her health sorted out. And their eyes were nearly popping out their head, and they thanked him, and I was blown away as well.
It's so good, isn't it? What a remarkable moment. Now, that actually started up quite a long association for you with this motorcycle club too. Could you tell us a little bit about what ended up occurring there? Yeah,
well, what happened there was because the Sedan Hotel was in a great location and a great community venue, the Redback tourists decided to have an annual rally, which they call a Redback rally, at the hotel, where they had a band singing off the back of a semi-trailer, and they had show and shine competitions for various categories of motorbikes, and they charged an entrance fee, so people could come along, hear the music, take part in the competitions, and so forth, and have a good night. Well, we had hundreds of people come, and once the treasurer took out the costs which they incurred for the band and the hire and so forth, they came up to me and they said, Pastor, we'd like to donate $1,000 from our rally to your church. And I said to them straight away, I said, you blokes aren't going home tonight. And I said, I'm here at the church at 9 o'clock tomorrow. The church was just opposite the hotel in Sedan. And I said, why don't you blokes come across at 9 o'clock tomorrow and present me with the gift, and I'll get you out the front and I'll introduce you to the people, to the congregation, and I'll pray for you. Anyway, that all happened, and I had congregation members in their 80s who had probably never seen bikers in their lives come out of their seats and come up and shake hands and thank the motorcyclists. And I was really impressed with that. That was really wonderful acceptance by our members, and the members also could see, the motorcycle club could also see how accepting our members were of them, and they really liked that. So then a year later, they did exactly the same thing, had the rally, a lot of people, another $1,000. And this time, I thought, well, right, I'll get a certificate of appreciation made up and signed, and I'll have that on the altar of the church. And when they come up, I'll present that to them. Well, they got the last laugh because, yes, I presented them with the certificate of appreciation, but then one of them pulled out this T-shirt from under his leather jacket and said, Pastor, we'd like to make you an honorary member of our motorcycle club. And whenever you come to Sedan Hotel, we'd like you to wear our T-shirt, which says Redback Tourist Motorcycle Club, which I proudly did.
It's so good. We're going to hear more of that journey in a couple of moments' time, and some more of the impact that's occurred, as well as what do we take from interacting with perhaps other parts of society that we don't normally maybe impact and integrate with. We're going to hear Graham's thoughts on that. Pastor Graham Jenke is my guest here on Towards Understanding.
Share your brand, your event, your message across 90 Christian radio stations and major cities in Australia and New Zealand by sponsoring Towards Understanding, hosted by Clayton Bielan. More than 210,000 people tune into Towards Understanding each week, and with just one sponsorship, you'll reach this immense engaged audience. Find out more about this exciting and unique opportunity now on the sponsorship page at positivemedia.com.au.
We're hearing specifically about this engagement he had with the local motorcycle club where he was based in South Australia. And it really is a remarkable story of how you connected in with them and were a part of what was happening with the Redback Motorcycle Club. They gave you their own sort of, uniform to wear when you came out with them. And you did start going out a fair bit more as well. It wasn't just engagements back into your church. It was you going out and you became part of their community too. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So the Redback tourists would have rallies in various places around South Australia. Of course, my work on a Sunday morning prevented me from being there on a Sunday, but where the weekends were started on a Friday, I'd ride my red Vespa scooter with a tent on the back and a sleeping bag, and I'd stay overnight Friday night, and I'd come back Saturday evening. And so it afforded me the opportunity to get to know the members of the motorcycle club on a deeper level, and though I was very accepting of them and they were very accepting of me, and of course I wore their T-shirt with the motto and emblem and that on, which they really liked. That made them consider me part of their club. I was wearing their T-shirt, and then gradually over the years, I got asked to do various things for the members of the club. For a start, there was a couple that wanted to get married, and so I was able to conduct their marriage at a rally, at one of their rallies. And that was a wonderful thing because that they had all their biker friends there, and I was there dressed up in my gear, and I conducted their marriage, and they really appreciated that, and they enjoyed it as well. And I believe also it was a good witness to the Christian faith. And so then the next thing that happened was one of the poor bikers was not very well, and he died, and so they asked me to conduct his funeral, which I did, and they felt that was very special because one of their own, faster pastor, conducted the funeral. And then later on, a couple wanted to renew their marriage vows. They'd been married 10 years, so I did that at the Overland Corner Redback rally, and that was a great occasion, very happy occasion. And then in time, some of the bikers had children, and some of them have asked me to baptise their children, which I've also done. And so, it's afforded me a very special place in their club, and they're always very happy to see me. And even though I don't have my red Vespa scooter anymore, they still call me Faster Pastor.
I love it.
Yep.
Was there ever, perhaps most of us might think, oh, well, there's a motorcycle club, gang, whatever it might be. It's a bit of a place I wouldn't have actually got into. Was there ever a moment where you went, oh, I'm not quite sure I fit here, or was it always just a great match and, different worlds, but worked perfectly?
Well, no, there was an acceptance on my behalf too, because, these, some of these fellas, and girls, especially when they've had a few drinks and so forth, their language is a bit loose, and but the one thing they never did, which and I think they did that because they knew me, and that is while they may have cursed and sworn, they never blasphemed God, and that was the one thing that I would have said something if they would have. But, they were decent enough to not blaspheme God.
As you reflect on your time and still there, each of us perhaps can take a moment, and I think the most obvious one is to say, well, which sort of group of people maybe am I not having a conversation with that I should be engaging with? What is your reflections as you think on that and as you might share with others your take?
Do you know that I'll tell another story which will explain this better. I was in my ministry. I've been asked to conduct weddings in lots of various places, and I was asked to conduct a wedding on the side of a hillside after Christmas when it was very hot on a farm where the bride grew up on this farm. And so because it was very hot, a lot of the people there were drinking beer, and you needed to be drinking something because it was so hot. And I was a little bit uncomfortable with that. But anyway, when I got back to the farmhouse, I was invited to the reception, which was held back at the farmhouse. I went to put my hand on the door handle of this 6-foot-high fence. I couldn't see what was behind, but I could hear what was being said. And there was young people there discussing the service and my message. And I could hear this one woman say to this fella, "Didn't you hear what the pastor said today?" And she repeated some of what I said. And at that moment, I realised, look, you can never ever judge a book by its cover. If somebody's got a beer in their hand, or if somebody's swearing, yeah, sure, it may be something that you don't like, but you form no judgments, because the Holy Spirit is active in the Word of God, and the Holy Spirit can do things which are absolutely amazing, and I've experienced that.
On those lines, like we said, we talk about this program being towards understanding, and let's be a little bit blatant with it. Maybe it's somebody in our world this week that we need to get out and have a conversation with. What's a way to do that when we feel like maybe we don't relate with those people? What's, from your experience, what's the best way to start that engagement?
Well, as I did even before I came on the air with you today, Clayton, is that I believe that we have to undergird our whole Christian life in prayer. And, if I'm going to the hotel, I'll pray beforehand, dear God, please use me for your purposes. If you would like me to talk to somebody, lead me to that person and give me the words to say. Give me words to say that will be of comfort and blessing to them and help me to be able to support them. So I'm praying about, my involvement with whatever I do in life. And so, if people realise that they have a friend who needs to be spoken to, and they themselves are Christian people caring for them, well, they need to pray for them before they go and see them, and commit the whole discussion to God.
Graham, it's been wonderful having a conversation with you. I know that the work that you do continues in a whole lot of different ways as you keep sharing that love of Jesus with so many others. So thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat to us today.
Thank you, Clayton, for the opportunity.
Pastor Graham Jenke, my guest here on Towards Understanding.